Okay, here we go. Unit 1, Lesson 10. I am filming this in my tutorial class, so I'm going to try to whisper. But we are doing Lesson 10 on rigid transformations. First question, 10.1, notice and wonder, transforms. We're going to do what's called a what do you notice, what do you wonder. You will need a sheet of patty paper. Some of you might be at home saying, I don't have patty paper. Well, tough, order some. If you can't order some yourself, you're more than welcome to borrow some of mine and take one home with you. But you do need some patty paper, so I would encourage you to buy a stack. It costs like $8. All right, here we go. What do you notice? What do you wonder? You'll need 4 colors. You'll need a pen or a pencil. You'll need a piece of patty paper, and then you should be good to go. All right. So what do you notice? What do you wonder? I got some advice for you on this one. Make a list. So over here, do notice, and then over here, do wonder. So just look at it. What do you notice, and what do you wonder? So, I notice we got A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Got A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime. And we also have O. Those are the points. Zoom in a little bit. What else do I notice? Well, I notice line M. Right here. I notice S seems to be the same size and shape as M. I notice that D looks to be 2 times as big as S. I notice point O away from S, D, and M. Now that we've got some noticings, it's really easy to figure out the wonderings. So wonderings, I'm gonna imagine I've never taught this course and this is my first time seeing this. But why are the primes there in figure M? So why are the primes there? A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime. Remember, primes have the apostrophe. I'm gonna wonder, why is point O off in the distance? Or you could say just not in the interior of any of these figures. How about this one? What's up with all the triangles? So what's up with all the triangles? Now, for the wonderings, I'll answer these. So why are the prime labels there in A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime? Or in other words, figure M? Well, the primes are typically the image. We'll talk more about that later. Why is point O right here just off in the distance? And I'll tell you why. Sometimes they'll ask you, for example, rotate figure S with center O. You're like, huh? O's not even on S. Well, you actually can. The other one, what's up with all these triangles? Well, These are known as equilateral triangles, where every single side has the same length. And then also, all the angles are 60. So what if, like we said, let's do a 60-degree rotation of figure S via center of rotation O? Well, imagine you drew this line from O to S. Say they wanted a 60-degree counterclockwise rotation. Well, it's going to be like this. Things like that. That could be like S prime. So that's why they give you an equilateral triangle grid. So if you're doing like rotations, it helps a ton. Specifically rotations of like 60, 120, 180, 240, 300, or a 360-degree rotation, because they're all multiples of 60. So that's one of the reasons why they give you the triangle grid. Anyways, that was about 6 minutes on one problem. The key is just to look at the figure and observe it, and then just write down your thinking, and I give you a ton of ideas. Okay. 10.2, what's the same? Now on this, you're gonna need 4 colors. You could use marker, you could use colored pencil. Colored pencil works a little bit better because it doesn't bleed through your page, but it's all good if you use marker too. Okay, so the instructions tell us, let me just zoom out so you can see kind of the whole page. They want us to actually draw the rigid transformation, but in a different color. Now let's talk about rigid transformation. You'll occasionally hear me call them RTs for short, but there are 3 rigid transformations. The easiest one is the translation. So you gotta do translations, rotation, and the third one is the reflection. So those are your 3. Got 1, 2, 3. Now, I'll tell you right now, there's only one thing that you need to specify on a translation. There are 3 things for a rotation, and there's only one thing that you need to specify for a reflection. We will get to these in a little bit, but there are some specifics that you will need to start identifying. That's coming up next, FYI. Okay, first one. Translate figure S along the line segment V in the direction shown by the arrow. There's the arrow. So we've got what's called translate figure S right here 2 units that away. Now, how do you do that? Well, you go what's called point by point. So on figure S, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 what are called vertices. We have to translate every one of the 6. So there's 6 that we have to translate this distance and direction. So the first one's pretty much done for us. There's one of them. Here's the second one. Here's the third one. Here's the fourth one. Here's the fifth one. And finally this one. You notice they all went 2 over all in the same direction. Now, last but not least, we're going to have to shade in this figure. I even recommend using a ruler on these, because a ruler is even better than your own tracing, believe it or not. But in the interest of time, I'm just going to go ahead and do that, because I forgot to grab a ruler. But it's okay. Okay, the very first one I'm going to do is going to be in, let's go red. So we're going red for the first. Okay, step 1 is done. This is a translation by directed line segment, V. Directed line segment. We'll talk more about that later. Okay, now we gotta reflect. So I have to reflect figure S across line Y. Here's line Y right here. Goes all the way down the page, it's in bold. So I've got to reflect this figure over this line, which means that it's going to be like a mirror. So again, go point by point. And there are 6 of them. So just for my own strategy, I'm going to start with this point. So I know line Y is 1, 2, 3 units away. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 units away. Let's go to this point. 1, 2, 3 units from Y. 1, 2, 3 units from Y. This one. 1, 2, 3, 4 units from Y. Go 1, 2, 3, 4 units from Y. How about this one? 1, 2, 3, 4 units from Y. Go 1, 2, 3, 4 units from Y. This one. This is why it helps to just go point by point. You can compartmentalize your thinking so it's not overwhelming. But let's look at this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units from Y. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units from Y. Last vertex. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units from Y. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units from Y. Okay, now this one I'm going to say is green. Can you write your question down, Adriana, on a piece of paper? Can you write it down? Thanks. So this one's going to be green. You'll find if you go real nice and slow in geometry, it's actually really calming. I use geometry actually as a stress reliever, believe it or not. So just take your time. go slow. We're up front. Now look at this, green and blue. That is a mirrored image, and the mirror is line Y. So we're done with 2. 3 is kind of tricky. We have to reflect figure S again, except this time we got to go across line M. There's M. Found M. M is this bold faced line. So we gotta go reflect this over line M. So see how Y, we got a mirrored image. Let's look at when we reflect over like a diagonal line. I'll show you how you do that. Again, point by point. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got to do it 6 times. So here's M. 2. I'm going to start with this point right here. There's M. M is 2 units down. But since it's a mirror, you got to go 2 units this way. And by M, or by mirror, I mean M. So there's the first one. Now I'm going to go this direction. This one, go down 2, over 2. That was my first, there's the second. So let's go to this one. M is 1, 2, 3 units down. It's a mirror, so I got to go this way. 1, 2, 3. Now let's look at this one. 1, 2, 3. Gotta go 1, 2, 3. Let's look at this one. You gotta remember where you left off. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you gotta go 1, 2, 3, 4. There's one last point right here. It's key to like stay calm so you don't forget where you were. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are the triangles I'm going to shade in. Daniela, go. Thank you. Now I'm going to go pink. Specifically, it's the coloring in part. It's really good strategy for lowering your anxiety. They say that like coloring books are actually a really good tool if you're stressed out. And I see why, because it's part of geometry too. So there's the pink reflection of figure S across line M. That's in pink. This was number 1. This is number 2. This is number 3. Okay. Now we have to translate figure S along the line segment W, which is right there, If you look at W, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units long in the direction shown by the arrow. So what do we need to do? DR? DR? Mr. R? Over there? Excuse me? Shh. We have to translate every single vertex by this line segment W. Every single one of them. Go point by point again, 6 times. Now, we're gonna pick up where we left off after we do the translation, because there's a second step, a reflection. But let's do the translation first. So, S, gotta translate by directed line segment W. So just go point to point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's start here this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that would have been what I shade in, except we also have to then reflect this one. I'll just mark it like this. We have to reflect this image. Oh, let's turn it into curves. It's a weird phenomenon. So we're almost there, but we gotta reflect this now. Reflect the image, this is the image of S, across line Y. There's Y, there's the line. So this now has to go, like imagine this is the mirror now. And that one's way easy. This one goes to there, this one goes to there. You just gotta color this in. And I'm gonna go my one other color, orange. Now let's see how that shakes out. And again, coloring should calm me down a little bit. So if the stress of high school is getting to you, try coloring. I've been in your shoes. I remember it's a stressful time. Don't worry, it gets better. Okay. So, last but not least, orange. And that was number 4. This was the partial step known as the image of S, which we then did another reflection, another transformation. But 4 is done. Now we're gonna answer this question. Tough question. How are the images the same, and then how are they different? Create a list. Same, different. I would say bullet points, or number them. I'm gonna try to come up with 3. So same. They're all the same shape. We did not do any dilations. We only did rigid transformations. Meaning they're also all the same size. What else is the same? Well, they have the same side lengths. And they also have the same angles. So, like for instance, this angle is congruent to this angle. This angle is congruent to this angle. This side right here, we'll do 2 hash marks, is the same as this side. And I know that because all the images have the same shape and the same size. And we are going to learn all about this coming up next. This is the symbol for congruence, which was the big Puma question yesterday. Coincidence? I don't know. Anyways, congruence. All right, let's talk about how they're different. Well, different colors for sure. We did different transformations. They're also in different locations. And I'll give you another one. Some of them have different orientations. For example, this one and this one. This part is facing this way, this part is facing this way. These two are oriented differently than these two. This one is oriented different than this one. And that's because we did different transformations. Alright, let's move on to 10.3. Does order matter? The answer to that is yes, it does. But let's take a look at what they have to say. So they say, here are 3, count them, 3 congruent L shapes on a grid. Number 1, I'm going to skip 2 and 4. I like the questions. I just had to skip that for time. I didn't have time. So here are 3 congruent L shapes on a grid. They are known as A, B, and C. They want you to describe, aka write. Since it's the workbook, describe a sequence of transformations. So, sequence, to me, that means more than one. So more than one, we gotta write out the transformations that will take A to B. Alright. This is where patty paper comes in handy. I'll just write that down. This is called patty paper. Patty paper. Why? Because they put them underneath, in between hamburger patties. So patty paper. It's also used for tracing paper. And you can get a stack of 1,000 of these for $9 on Amazon. Anyways, here's what you do. Step 1, trace A. Best way to trace A is get the vertices first. That's your best bet. Then use a straight edge to connect the dots. That way, if you move your paper a little bit, you still are good to go. Ruler. better option. Tried to use a post-it pad, that was a mistake. Okay, so you got figure A. This was a minor mistake, but I just want to remind you to err is human. So just roll with your mistakes. All right, we got to go from A to B. How am I going to do that? Well, let me just see. I know I want to get it in this orientation. So if I reflect over this line segment, it'll end up here. I just know that. And we're in that L shape. Just think of Tetris. That's basically what Tetris is. They do rotations, but I'm gonna do a reflection. Watch this. Over this line. Just be real careful. You just reflect it to that. Okay, now we're talking. Now we're here. Then you need to go 1, 2, 3, 4 units down. 1, 2 units over. So let's do that one more time. Reflection. Translate 4 down, translate 4 left. So the sequence is reflection, translation, 4 down, translation, 2 to the left. Now you're going to find that when we learn more about translations, we could have just done that in one step. It could have just been from this point to this point. One step. We'll talk about that, but this is good enough. All right, now we're gonna skip 2, but we are gonna do 3. So we gotta go from A to C now, which is the same kind of idea. You trace A, and now we gotta get to C. Now my goal is to get it in this orientation. So what I'm first gonna do is rotate it 90 degrees and look which direction I want it. Counterclockwise. That's a 90-degree rotation. Why? Well, look at this line and watch where it goes. It goes to there. So that line and that line forms a 90-degree angle, and we're going counterclockwise. Now, remember, I gotta get it to this orientation, which is C. So why don't we reflect it again over this line? So remember, this is gonna be the mirror. Watch what happens if we do that. Reflection, you just flip it to there. So now we're here. We're so close. Now we just need to do one move. But I'm gonna break it down into 2. First, we're gonna go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. Down. Wait, let me see. Hang on. That was right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units down. This point needs to be here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gets me there. So Translation 5 down, 7 to the right. So let's revisit the moves. Rotate. Reflect. Translate. Translate. Rotate. Reflect. Translate. Translate. Now, for a rotation, I'm not going to describe them because it's just too much. But coming up for all rotations, you need a center, a direction, and the degrees. I'm going to show you one more time. That first move was a rotation. There's our center. Direction is counterclockwise. Degrees is 90. So that's what I would have said. Rotate via that point, counterclockwise, 90 degrees. All right, so you're there. Reflect. You need a line of reflection. That line was here. That's all you need is the line of reflection. Now, translate. I could have saved you a step. If we go from this point to this point, it's done in one. But just to be clear, I wanted to show you, you need to describe directed line segments. So your directed line segment each time. Now for this one, the directed line segment was a vertical line 5 units down, and then a horizontal line to the right 7. So that's it. That's 1 and 3. I have a few extra minutes. I'm just going to do the cool down. These are critical terms that you need to know. But let's do the cool down, then we'll call it a day. Okay, so the cool down asks us to reflect quadrilateral A, B, C, D across this line, which is called line F right here. A quadrilateral is a polygon that has 4 sides. That's what a quadrilateral is. This is the easiest cool down you've seen yet. Here's line F. You've got to reflect. So imagine that's a mirror. So if C is there, C prime is there. If D is there, D prime is here. A, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Here's A prime. And let's look at B. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, which is B prime. Now, I don't know if you noticed that, but I went point by point. Why? It's too much thinking going all at once. Remember, one thing at a time, one thought at a time. Is this geometry advice? Nah, this is life advice. Do one thing at a time, think of one thing at a time, if you can. Let's connect the dots, call it a day, and then I can post my video. No need to shade it in, but if you want, go for it. I'll leave you with one last reminder. If you are stressed out, try coloring. It's one of the reasons I love art so much. All right, nice job. Keep up the hard work. Come see me Tuesdays, 4 to 5, if you want one-on-one tutoring. Also, please watch these videos over and over and over until it clicks. All right, have a good day. Bye.